We are the Bad Shepherds, and you're watching the Radio National YouTube channel. We've come to Australia to find our sheep. It's a mouthful.
It certainly is.
Splendid.
Well, time for some live music for you today, and live music from that sweet spot. That spot where punk and new wave meets folk. We have the Bad Shepherds in the studio with us today. Troy Donockley, Andy Dinan and Adrian Edmondson. Hello, welcome.
Hello. How you doing?
Of course, that last name may well ring familiar to you. Adrian, long and illustrious career in comedy, very well-known characters, of course.
I remember that.
Like...
Vivian! Honestly, whenever anything explodes in this house, it's always blame Vivian!
Well, who do you suggest we blame?
Thatcher! No! Blame whoever rang the front doorbell, because they obviously triggered off the bomb I set up.
Oh, yes, we remember that. But music is, in the last few years at least, has been very much more your focus, hasn't it? What's happened?
Well, music's always been there. It's just I've eventually sort of progressed it from a hobby into a proper kind of working business, as it were.
Yeah.
You know, that it's just come out to the front. I accidentally bought a mandolin about 5 years ago.
Was beer involved in this?
Beer was involved. It's a thing a few of my friends do every Christmas. We go for a little pre-Christmas booze up and then go down Denmark Street in London, which is full of beautiful second-hand guitar shops and kind of weird instrument shops. And we buy something inappropriate when our wives aren't watching. So the next morning I woke up with a mandolin and I mean, I can play lots of stringed instruments, but I didn't know how to play that, so I started working out chords and played songs that I knew, which are the songs we play in the band. And
is it the instrument that has drawn you towards full-time musicianship? You know, is it a catalyst?
It's the mandolin that's made it a proper concern because it's such a different noise. It's such a
sound. We call it sound.
Yeah, well, I call it noise. I think we make a beautiful racket. That's what we go for.
Well, your instrument is very beautiful, but the one that Troy is cradling on his lap is even more exotic. And these, and I mean that with the greatest compliment.
Yeah, she's lovely.
Yeah, you're cradling the uilleann pipes, which are, I guess essentially we can call them lazily the Irish bagpipes, can't we?
Yeah, lazily the Irish bagpipes. They're kind of an overdeveloped bagpipe. They're kind of like
it's like something from a steampunk film.
Yeah, it is. They are. They kind of went way beyond what a normal bagpipe should be, and they became really overdeveloped. I suppose they're the idiot savant of the bagpipe world.
Just describe what it... And it takes a certain character to play them, obviously.
Of course.
But just describe some of the features, because it's got lots of valves and bags.
Yeah, I like that steampunk thing. I'll have to quote you on that. That's really good.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, you've got drones, which are those fellas there, which you can switch on and off. You play the main melody on the chanter, which is this. And then you've got regulators, which are these, which are chords, which you play with your...
Traffic's awful this morning.
Yeah. You can play those with your wrist.
How long does it take to learn to play? I mean, the mandolin takes decades, I know, but how long does it take to learn to play one of those?
I started playing in about 1785, just after the
Industrial Revolution.
Yeah. It takes bloody ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that you've spent all that time learning, you get to apply it to punk and new wave songs. So you finally arrived, really.
Well, the Bagpipe Society have got a fatwa out on me for playing them in such an abominable music form.
Let's take a little listen to them. The Bad Shepherds are in today. What would you like to play for us, Adrian?
We're going to play I Fought the Law.
Good-o.
Yes.
A song made famous by the Clash, but not
Clash.
originally by them.
No, written by Sonny Curtis. He was one of the Crickets, I think, at one point.
Was he? Ah. Okay. Ready?
Yeah. A breaking rocks in the hot sun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I needed money 'cause I had none. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. A breaking rocks in the hot sun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I needed money 'cause I had none. I fought the law and the law won. I fought so bad, I guess my race is run. She's the best thing I ever had. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. A robbing people with a zip gun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I lost my girl and I lost my fun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. A robbing people with a zip gun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I lost my girl and I lost my fun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I left my baby and it feels so bad. I guess my race is run. She's the best thing I ever had. I fought the law and the law won. 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 I fought the law and the law won.
You're listening to the Inside Sleeve here on RN, and the sounds of the Bad Shepherds playing live for you. Adrian Edmondson on the mandolin and vocals, Andy Dinan on the fiddle, and Troy Donockley on the uilleann pipes, and I Fought the Law. The choice of folk adaptations of punk and new wave, initially it sort of seems a bit odd, and then you realise that I guess the attitude...
Very similar.
Very similar, isn't it?
It's not why we do it, but theoretically it does work out backwards. That, folk and punk are basically the same kinds of music. It's the kind of music that no one ever learns. You don't go into a conservatoire to learn punk or folk, So they're both kind of music of the people, and they're mostly songs, so protest songs and songs of social commentary. So they have a kind of DIY ethos.
And Adrian, I take it it's a period in time which is... for all of us, that era, which is your late teens and your early 20s, it's a period in music which is pretty special to you, isn't it?
It's very special to me because that's when I was a teenager. But I think it was a very special time altogether. Besides me being a teenager at the time, I think these songs we play are brilliantly written. That one is a slight anomaly because Sonny wrote that in the 60s. But there's a lot of teenagers writing in the late 70s who wrote fantastic lyrics to songs. If you think of Paul Weller and Down in the Tube Station at Midnight and Squeeze writing Up the Junction and stuff like that, there are some brilliant those are both kind of folk ballads, and beautifully written by teenagers. And it's a kind of, people think back to punk and they think it's all jumping up and down and spitting and swearing, but it was an essentially brilliant moment of songwriting.
The music obviously holds up. Does the spirit and the ethos of it, does it hold up, or has it become a caricature? When I was
at uni, we had punk gigs going on in one sort of venue at one side of the university, and the other side there was an Irish pub called the Juicy where they used to have sessions, and you'd pass the Juicy, and when you hear a jig or a reel kick off, I think it's exactly the same spirit as punk. It's just makes you go, oh, it's got an adrenaline rush to it,
Troy, you've played in I guess some slightly more serious, as Andy, a lot more serious folk acts as well. Is there a risk of falling into a novelty when you're approaching these sorts of things? Is there a line there that you're careful not to cross?
There is definitely a risk, but as Ed just pointed out, when the substance of a song is so good, You know, I mean, the lyrical content of those punk songs, which were completely obliterated by the racket that was going on behind it, it does become kind of sensitive to folk music, and it starts to fit. So it's not as explosively sacrilegious as you would think it is, you know. But at the same time, you know, there were a few eyebrows raised, you know.
In the folk scene?
In the folk scene, yeah.
It can get a little austere from time to time.
Yeah,
can't
well,
it?
yeah, it does. It's nice to shake it up a bit. And
There are people that we call folk Nazis.
folk Nazis, yeah.
Who are preserving a purity which we transgress.
That's right, and it's like Dad's Army, you know, they don't like it up them, as they said. But we carry on regardless.
Does it give you the spirit to go back and investigate whether there are some of the songs from that era that perhaps are lesser known? Do you feel like doing a bit of research?
Well, we do play a few kind of weird ones. We play things like Friday Night, Saturday Morning by the Specials, which never really got. I don't think.
Yeah.
Not many people know that.
I'd
song.
never heard it until you. Played
Without the horn section?
Well, yeah, we
Yeah.
use, yeah.
You got the uilleann pipes.
the pipes and the fiddle playing the horn parts.
we never get very horny.
So we're also on the ska death list as well as the folk death list.
There's not many places you can go in the UK anymore at all. That said, the UK, there's a lot of young folk artists who tend to be getting quite a bit of prominence at the moment. Is there a feeling that there is a greater interest in folk, and particularly from a younger perspective?
Well, funnily enough, they have labelled it the new folk movement.
They like to do that a lot, don't they?
NU, yeah,
right.
New folk.
New folk. But no, it's always been there. It's always been there. It's just now.
It's getting more airplay, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting more airplay, and the media is different to what it was in the.
I mean, acts like Mumford and Son sort of came up through that. I don't know if you'd call them folk, but they play
not
folk
really.
instruments, you know.
Yeah, but they're not really a folk band.
It's nice to hear banjos and things
Yeah.
and on primetime radio.
It is splendid.
Well, we don't have a banjo here today, but we do have that other fabulous Irish instrument, the bouzouki.
Yeah, it goes well with the other Irish invention, falafel and hummus.
What are you going to play for us next?
We're going to play No More Heroes
By the Stranglers.
by the Stranglers.
Good. All right. The Bad Shepherds are in today. Adrian Edmondson, Andy Dinan, and Troy Donockley, and a cover of the Stranglers tune, No More Heroes.
Whatever happened to Leon Trotsky? He got an ice pick that made his ears burn. Whatever happened to dear old Lenin, the great Elmira, and Sancho Panza? Whatever happened to those heroes? Whatever happened to those heroes? No more heroes anymore. No more heroes anymore. No more heroes anymore. No more heroes anymore. Whatever happened to all those heroes? All those Shakespeareos? They watch their Rome burn. Whatever happened to those heroes? Whatever happened to those heroes?
right. The Bad Shepherds playing live for you today, and a cover of the Stranglers No More Heroes. Andy Dinan on the fiddle, Adrian Edmondson on the vocals and the mandolin, and Troy Donockley on the bouzouki today. Thank you very much, gents.
Cheers.
Splendid.
A new record coming out, wonderfully titled Mud, Blood and Beer. Fairly autobiographical, obviously. Gents, thanks ever so much.
Been a pleasure. Thank
Brilliant.
you.
Wonderful.
Lovely. That was great.
Lovely, mate.
Fabulous.
Really fab. Sound was great as well.
Sounded great. My phones.
Thank you, Mark and Charlie.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Charlie.
Could hear it. Good job.
The Inside Sleeve
Yeah.
with Robbie Buck on RN.